Hello everyone, HamsterSales here with another Starcraft 2 commentary. Today it is a game between myself, HamsterSales, the red Zerg in the top left, and Jadu, the blue Protoss in the lower right. It is of course on Shakuris Plateau, classic ladder map, and this is a game I just played so I wanted to cast it. I think I had a lot of good stuff going on that I can learn from it, that hopefully other Zerg players can learn from. And yeah, I'm in Diamond. This guy, oddly enough, is in gold, believe it or not. He's in gold league, but I checked his match history, and just about all of his games are against diamond opponents. So I guess he is just playing out of his mind, or somebody else is playing on his account. Something weird going on there, but he's just playing well enough to be constantly matched up against diamond players, winning most of those matches. So I'm pretty much playing a diamond player, if his MMR is good enough, that, you know, I can consider this just a regular old diamond league game. Yeah, so this is Shakuris Plateau. I do really like this map for ZVP. Yeah, you can pretty easily get your third and fourth bases, and then if you exude enough map control on your opponent, these fifth and sixth aren't too far out of reach either. It's one that Protoss really likes to fast expand on, and lately I've really been trying to punish Protoss for fast expanding, and that's what I'm going to start out trying to do here. It is extremely easy to defend this choke, as Protoss is really not that big a ramp. But regardless, I'm going to see how far I can push my luck with a Roach Ling bust. You know, it just takes a couple force fields to block off this ramp, so if he is smart and just gets a couple of sentries, he'll be able to defend it. So a little bit of a spoiler alert, that's what's coming. I'm not going to tell you if I'm successful or not. But yeah, I really do like busting down Forge fast expands nowadays, especially on the newer ladder maps that have wide open natural expansion areas. Protoss it's really going to be very hard to defend that if you need 6 to 8 force fields to cover your Forge fast expand. It's really not worth doing against a Zerg who is inclined to Roach Ling bust especially. You can get away with it if the Zerg sits back and plays a passive macro game like we usually do. But every time I see a Forge fast expand nowadays, I just want to tear it down. I've been extremely successful with it. Even if the Protoss goes for Void Rays, they usually only get 1 or so Void Rays out. By the time I've destroyed their whole front wall, including most of their production, I'm then able to take out both Nexuses usually. Protoss has to make a decision, does he want to kill the attacking force or try to do damage to my own base? Either one usually doesn't work out too well, as I generally have 4 to 5, sometimes 6 roaches surviving. I try to push with 7 or 8 roaches for my roach busts nowadays. And when that happens, I'm able just to usually clean up everything they have if they do get the Void Rays even. And as far as general army goes, they usually don't have nearly enough to take me out. They're either preparing for some kind of 4 to 6 gate pressure, and they have a standard army, but have invested a lot in production and not a whole lot in army units. So usually not expecting the Roach Ling bust. So I do see the Forge fast expand, and you'll see I immediately put drones back on gas and get to building a Roach Warren. Yep, there's Roach Warren. Here comes the gas. So you'll start building up gas before you get the Roach Warren, of course. You'll be able to build about 3 or 4 roaches. You'll have about 100 gas before it finishes. Maybe even more than that. And then once you hit 7 or 8, you cut gas production again. Get back to mining minerals with all your drones, and you're going to follow up the 7 roach push with tons of speedlings. I always get my speed first, so that's already done. And you're going to just flood into their base with tons of lings after you destroy their wall with the roaches. You want the roaches to focus down the photon cannons and any ranged units trying to defend the choke. As you can see, Protoss has, I think, 0 army units at this point, which is why I love doing this Forge fast expand. You're just in such great position I like doing the Roach Ling bust, because you're just in great position to tear down the Protoss's wall. They're almost never expecting it, and Zergs usually just let Protoss get away with it. Now, he is getting the sentry right now, so by the time my bust gets here, he'll have 2 force fields on that sentry. And that's excuse me, that's really all he needs to defend this on this map. So in general, probably a pretty poor decision for me to go for this Roach Ling bust, but we'll see how effective it is. I really wanted to push my luck here. 7 roaches can tear down a building pretty quickly, especially if you get lings clawing at them. So we're going to see how his reactions are to this, see if he scouts it coming. He does have a probe on this watchtower. I really should have sent a ling out in advance of my attack to clear this probe out, but I don't think I do. I think he sees the roach push before I get there. That's another strike against my potential attempt here. But we're going to see if I can make it work. I've been having lots of success. I have a good amount of practice doing it. Like I said, I've been doing it every single time I see a Forge Fast Expand. I have cut gas at this point. I have, I believe, 8 roaches total, or at least on the way. Yep, I have my 8 roaches, so I should be moving out. And there I go, waiting for these guys in back and getting my ling production now. On the way, I think I supply blocked myself for a minute, so lings should be on the way sort of shortly when larva and money provide. There we go, 14 more lings. They're going to be the cleanup crew, providing I can knock this wall down. But he has 3 sentries set up and plenty of energy to force field. So if his reactions are pretty decent, he should be able to do this no problem. Even if his reactions are pretty slow, really, he should just be able to... Yep, there he goes. That was very fast force fields, especially from a gold player. Like I said before, playing above his level, I would say. And immediately repels me from this roach ling bust. I have tons of useless army units at this point, and how is my economy? This is not going to be good, folks. 47 to 27. I'm behind 20 workers, and I have no chance of busting down this wall. He's got stalkers and cannons and sentries defending. Not going to be able to push past those force fields with these units. So I really need to scramble to get my economy in order. I am producing 6 drones. Luckily as Zerg we can get our economy back quicker than any other race, but I am way far behind. Really need to take a third to get an advantage on my opponent here. So hopefully that's something I do. I'm getting all my gases right now. Putting drones back on gas. I'm way behind in tech as well, I'd say. Roaches, I'd say, are farther behind in tech than the Protoss. He's got his warp gate researched. So, and he's got a robo facility out, producing observers. Going to get lots of map vision. Sees my force out here. He probably figures I'm already macroing up at this point when he sees that I've not really added any units to that initial attack. So he is now going for Colossus Tech with that robotics support bay, getting 2 more forges out. Going to be going upgrade crazy, or else that was an accident that he produced 2 more forges. Or if he's building the 2, yep, because he wants to destroy the forge at his gate, so he can move out with a terrifying Protoss death ball. So I'm struggling to get my economy going, getting some upgrades for my roaches. Gonna stick to roach heavy play. I believe I go for roach infester this game. Just now getting my layer up, so I am way far behind in tech, and he is amassing a pretty decent force here while expanding to his 3rd. If I were able to scout his army out in the field here, I probably would amass some units in order to engage it, because his army not much superior to mine even at this point in the game. If I get a couple of rounds of units, I'm sure I could take care of it. I do see it coming out, no doubt, from this watchtower vision. Not going to bother switching to my vision. And he is he going to move in here? No, he's electing to take out some creep tumors instead. I might be going to take out my 3rd. He must have vision of that, or is just checking it out, because this is standard time for Zerg to have a 3rd. And canceling a roach there, I like that. And he is going to take out my 3rd. So not good for me. I'm stuck on 2 bases now. He's getting his 3rd. My roachling bust failed completely. And I did a pretty decent job, I'd say, of getting drones back up, but it might be too late. That might have just put me way too far behind, losing my 3rd and being behind on workers for so long. Haven't even caught up to him yet. I really need to do a better job of amassing workers, especially since I was intending to take my 3rd there. And apparently I built a roach with one of the surviving larvae. That's very strange. But yeah, I should have been amassing many more workers at this point, and I'm just way far behind this guy. Yeah, down by nearly 20 workers still. Down a base even. So I am double expanding though to try to catch up. But I want to be doing a better job of counting my workers. This base may be a little undersaturated. The main definitely may be a little undersaturated too. You want to have about 24 visible, I think I've heard, drones, which would fill up all 3 rows. So yeah, about 24 per base would be better. So at a minimum need about 6 more, and then also need to get ready to saturate these bases ahead of time, especially since he has backed off that attack from before. Now I'm pushing out my forces here to the middle of the map. I don't know if I have vision on that. I don't think I do. Let me check that. No, I have no vision on his army, so this is kind of precarious. I definitely think he has the army advantage, especially with that Colossus, unless I'm somehow able to snipe it, but that's going to be unlikely with these sentries in support of the Stalkers and the Zealots, which should have charge at this point, 13 minutes into the game. They do not quite yet. Is that in production? No, instead focusing on Thermal Lance, which is very smart, and now getting that Twilight Council so he can blink and get the Zealot charge upgrade. I should see this army now, and yeah, I'm gonna back off, and I am getting 11 roaches, and roach speed is nearly done. I'm getting my infestor pathogen, pathogen gland upgrade, which is quite late. I'm getting it 14 minutes into the game. I should really even be thinking about hive tech at this point and not working on the basic infestor upgrade. But that upgrade is on the way at around 30 seconds when you want to begin infestor production, but I'm kind of low on gas, and I'm only able to produce 3, and the army's moving in, so this is extremely poor timing for me. But I do have a good amount of roaches, and I'm only down 20 on supply, but that's pretty bad, and we're going to see how this works out. I do manage to snipe the Colossus, which is great. These roaches are going to be engaging zealots and stalkers, which they do pretty well. Some decent micro from me, moving the roaches in close to make sure they're firing at all times. And looks like I'm going to be able to clean this up. The stalkers stutter stepping as they retreat hastily. Upgraded roaches, especially on creep, are able to chase down stalkers quite effectively. I think they're barely faster than stalkers out in the field too. Oh, that guy died. Can't check his speed. 2.95 for regular stalkers, and just a base movement of 3 for roaches, so 0.05 movement speed faster than stalkers off of creep, and much faster than them on creep, a whole 0.9 faster on creep. 0.95 I guess it would be. And yep, my energy upgrade now up for the infestors. I have a few out on the field. I think I might be too far behind at this point though. I'm down now 23 workers. This base not saturated yet, neither is this one. At a minimum, I really want to get the gas very quickly here, because that's what I'm going to be dependent on to produce infestors that can deal pretty well with colossi and stalkers. Fungal for the stalkers for all that bonus damage we still do before that awful nerf that's coming up. And the neural parasite also still very effective against colossus until that is coming out with the next patch too, potentially, if they keep that in the patch notes, I guess you could say. Potentially, if you haven't read up on it, in patch 1.4.6 I think is what they're calling it, or 1.4, they're going to be removing neural parasite for massive units. Can't do it against colossi or mothership or carriers or Thors or battle cruisers. You just cannot do it against massive units anymore. Ultralists were already immune, and that's a huge nerf. Probably not even worth researching the ability anymore. The only things I could see using it on would be immortals and siege tanks for Terran. Nothing from Zerg really going to be worth neural parasiting still. That was always the case, but yeah, man, that's a huge nerf for that spell. But still in effect here. I played this game today, and I'm going to want to get some sick neural parasites off on these colossi if I want to win. Get some good fungals down on the stalkers as well. And right now, supply favoring the Protoss. That's never good. But with infestors used correctly, you can beat a max supply Protoss army. I know there's some kind of philosophical debate out there that Zerg shouldn't be able to do that. I find that absolutely retarded. With good unit control, I think even supply army for any race should be able to win. Maybe a slight advantage for the Protoss because their units are supposed to be a bit more cost effective, but you do have a hard counter to the infestor guys. You do have High Templar. But anyway, that's a balanced discussion that I really shouldn't be taking part in right now. Protoss Deathball moving out across the field, primarily Stalker and Zealot based. The Zealot's going to be great against the infestors, but not so great against the roaches. But we're going to have to see here how this works out. It does have an Archon in the back too, strangely. Roach is going to work on those Zealots, evaporating very quickly under the fungal and the roach fire. I get some neurals down on this Colossus, which is pretty effective. I only get the one neural, and that infestor goes down. And these roaches doing a pretty good job of cleaning up the stalkers, but the Colossus are getting free reign still. One Colossus being focused down by me. I do start focus firing these Colossi, and one goes down. The second one getting very low on health. Walking up the cliff. Do I lose vision on it? Yes, I do. And for some reason they attacked this guy for a second, which is unfortunate for me. But he's able to clean up my whole army and back off with 2 Colossi and some Stalkers. So usually it's a pretty good trade for Zerg to take out almost an entire Protoss army, but I have not been doing my job macroing. I'm still behind on workers. This base only now getting saturated, but that's just because this base is mined out and I must have transferred some drones down there. It's still completely not saturated on my 4th. He is completely saturating his 4th. His 3rd decently saturated. Could use some more probes there, but he is managing his economy much better than I am. Still had a ton of probes, and yeah, these guys completely mined out the main. Still working on mine. That's an indication that he got it saturated quicker than I did. And he's going to be moving out, and it looks like it might be dealing the final blow. My army is pretty pitiful. I'm down 30 supply or so. Just now getting a bunch of roaches, but they aren't out of their eggs yet, and I really need to save this third and 4th base if I have any chance of winning. These reinforcements going to be catching my army. Those would have been kind of tough to deal with in general. But getting a neural on this Colossus up here, I maybe should have tried to isolate the reinforcements, but losing all my infestors out of position, was not defending them with the roaches well enough, and frankly I just did not have the forces to deal with this Protoss push. I call it GG to Jadu, the blue Protoss, who played it very well, much smarter economy and management than myself. I was brutally punished for going for a silly roachling bust, really. I learned my lesson. Don't want to try to bust a Forge Fast Expand on Shakuris Plateau. 6-pool on Shakuris Plateau is actually much more effective than roachling bust in most situations, because they usually won't have their wall up, and you'll know right off the bat which base they're at because you'll have Overlord scouted. Your 6-pool will reach their base right away. They're also usually not prepared for that, but you know, because it's pretty much a 1v1 map for Zerg, send out your first Overlord and you know where your opponent is. Anyway, that's beside the point. Good, GG to Jadu. Hopefully something I will learn from in the future. Hopefully other people can learn from it too. Don't roachling bust on Shakuris Plateau, and if you do, manage your economy better when you're trying to come back from it. So thanks for watching.